It was a normal, bright, sunny day in late June. Guy that we work with came in to the lab and said, "Man, you've got to go check out Bernice State Park." He said, "I just crossed the bridge and it looked like somebody has dumped fluorescent green paint into the lake." So we ran out, pulled some samples, brought them back to the lab, and then it became very apparent what we were dealing with at that time.
GRDA is warning folks headed to Grand Lake about blue-green algae on one part of the lake.
There are high levels of blue-green algae out here.
In the summer of 2011, on Oklahoma's Grand Lake, the water once known for being a brilliant shade of blue turned into a peculiar lime green color. It was blue-green algae, and it threatened the entire ecosystem's water quality and a way of life for the people who depended on it.
The extent of that bloom was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. We weren't necessarily prepared to deal with the toxicity of the samples. We really started to realize that these things are pretty dynamic when they take off. That's what was a real eye-opener to us, is how rapidly conditions can change in the lake. People have grown up here since this lake was built, in 1940. It's really been part of their family tradition. But in 2011, everything changed.
There's 78,000 miles of streams in the state of Oklahoma, and they're all as important to someone as this one is to me.
Nestled in the rolling eastern hills of Oklahoma and the land of the Cherokees, Ed Feit has dedicated his entire career to the protection of clean water.
I live at a place on the Illinois River called Swannanoa, Swannanoa Ranch. It's been in my family 4 generations.
My great-grandfather, Francis Bartow Feit Sr., purchased this land. The Illinois River has been synonymous with my life as far back as I can recall. So my father was a surgeon and my grandfather was a surgeon, and there was an expectation I'd be a surgeon. But I got hooked on the river.
I'll never forget the first smallmouth bass that I caught in the Illinois River, or my first float trip. I always got shipped off to camp in the summer months to a place in Branson, Missouri called Kanakuk Camp. And we always did river trips. And so everywhere I went in my youth, I was exposed to water.
There was always an opportunity to come here and spend time. As I grew up, I started finding myself coming over here and floating, and so I ended up on river time. A river tells a story.
It is chock full of memories, it's chock full of adventure. If you get away from civilization and you get on a river and you focus on that river, you're connected.
In my walk, I've spent all my time with this river, nurturing her, and she's nurturing me. She is the lifeblood of the human soul. There's never a bad day at the river.
There's been times where I'm, in the river and I'm just sitting there fishing, and I'll look down, and because I've been so still as far as like my legs and I'm just casting, I look down and there's like a big trout just right next to me. It's like I've become part of the river. There's something really, really cool about that, to be able to do that and to have that. And I think it just takes, sometimes a little bit of quiet and just sitting there and just kind of taking it all in, and you realize what's there,
As a kid growing up in California, visiting the ocean or climbing the mountains of the Sierras was a way of life for Chris Castro. But while in high school, his family moved to Oklahoma. That's when he discovered the diverse landscape of his newly adopted land and soon began fly fishing and taking advantage of the natural resources that surrounded him.
Fly fishing is a little more in line with what I like to do. I just kind of enjoy slower things. You're just using feathers and these basic materials on a hook to catch fish. There's something just real peaceful about that process.